Hi friends, it's Mr. Alex from Adams Memorial Library, and as always, I'm back with another installment of the Online Origami Club. Now, this week, I thought we would make a super special project and make a samurai helmet out of origami. Now, those of you who have been following me since I started making origami during the pandemic, I have made this pattern before, but since we have so many new friends who have joined the Origami Club, I thought that this would be a great opportunity to make one of my favorite folds a second time. Now, don't forget, if you are also new to the Online Origami Club and you haven't picked up your Online Origami Club kit yet, then you definitely want to stop by the library, either at the front desk or curbside pickup, to get one of these Online Origami Club kits. And in this bag will be all sorts of paper of different colors and patterns that you can use to create the projects that I'm about to show you. So let me refresh us on what materials we'll need to make our origami project, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Okay. So anytime that we make an Online Origami Club project, there are 4 things that we're gonna need. The first thing, as always, is our sheet of practice paper, because we wanna get really, really good at the origami that we make before we do our final project. So as always, this week, I have a sheet of my origami paper, but if you don't have origami paper at home, that's A-okay. You can use a sheet of notebook paper, construction paper, anything that you have at home will do. Then we're gonna need a final sheet of paper, so something that we want to use to make our final samurai helmet. And in this case, I have a piece of paper out of my Online Origami Club kit, and your pattern may look a little bit different. That's okay, because everybody's samurai helmet is going to be unique to them. Next up, we have a marker, crayon, or something else that we wanna use to decorate. And this is gonna help us add, again, just a little bit more individuality and make our project extra unique. And finally, if we are using a piece of practice paper that is not already a square, then we're gonna need a pair of scissors to trim our paper down into a perfect square. So go ahead and gather all of that up, and we'll begin making our samurai helmet. So the first step that we're gonna need to follow when we are making our origami samurai helmet is that we're going to put the pattern side of our paper, or the side that we want to show the most on our samurai helmet, and we're gonna flip that face down. Then we're going to diagonally fold our sheet of paper in half, taking the top down to the bottom, just like this. Once we think we've got it lined up pretty well, we'll give it those nice sharp creases that we love to make here in the Online Origami Club. And then we'll have something that looks like this. Our next step is gonna be to take each of these points here and fold them down to this center point here, making essentially what looks like a diamond or a square on its edge. So we'll fold one side down like this, give it that crease, and we'll take the other side, fold that down, making sure everything's all lined up, and give that a nice sharp crease as well. Alrighty, and at this point, we are going to have something that looks like this, and we're again going to take this side here and this side here. We just want these top flaps that are separated from each other, and we are going to fold them up to this top point right here. So we'll take one side, fold it up, give it a nice sharp crease, take the other side, fold it up, and crease that off as well. At this point, we are going to have, these flaps here, as well as 2 sheets, or 2 layers of paper down here at the bottom, and something that looks like this. Now, up next, we are going to take and fold these flaps out like this, right along this center point here, and I'll show you what that looks like. So we're gonna take one side, fold it out, and then it's gonna look something like this. Then we're gonna repeat that on this side here. And while you're doing this, you definitely want to keep your folds pretty even and try to keep it so that they are folded at roughly the same angle on your origami project. So at this point, we have something that looks like this, and we are getting there, and it's starting to look a little bit like a samurai helmet. So the next step that we're going to do is that we are going to take one of our layers here on the bottom, just one of them, and we're gonna fold it up. But we're not gonna fold it the whole way up. And something that you wanna watch out for is when you're folding up, the amount of space, let me try to show you here, the amount of space that you leave here between this bottom crease of the top half of the project and where the crease is down here, that amount of space is going to be how big the rim is on your samurai helmet. So you don't want it to be too big. You don't want to fold, the whole way down here, but you also don't want to pull it the whole way up, because if you pull it up that far, you'll only have this little bit as your rim, and that's not going to be enough to hold your project together. So there's no exact measurement for how big you want the rim of your helmet to be, but you do want to make this fold leaving enough space for a rim that's going to hold your project together. So I'm going to pick something about here and then finalize that fold by making a nice sharp crease. And another way to tell that you've done this fold correctly is that the point of your triangle that you fold up should align right along this center crease in the top half of the project. Alrighty, so now that we have something that looks like this, now it's time to make that rim that I was talking about. And essentially we're going to take the bottom edge of this layer and just roll up our rim like this, making the rim of the samurai helmet. And as you can see, the thicker your rim is, so this one's pretty thick on my project, it's going to cover some of the triangle here in the center. So if you want to see more triangle and have a shorter rim, you can change those proportions accordingly. So this is a part of our project that you may want to retry or refold a couple of times. But once we have a rim that we're happy with, and I think this one here looks pretty good, then it's time to make the last fold of our project. And we are going to open up our samurai helmet like this, and we're just going to tuck our last layer of paper here at the bottom right inside. And then once it's the whole way inside, all nice and even, we're going to take and make one final nice sharp crease. Alrighty. And now something that you may have noticed is that your samurai helmet, especially in the front, it's a little bit loose. It may not want to hold together too terribly well. So once we're done folding, we're going to take and open up our samurai helmet just like this. And then you're going to want to pull it like this and then crease down the peak of the front of our helmet like that, just like this. And what that's going to do is that's going to allow those layers of paper to press against each other and hold each other together. And then that way our samurai helmet will stay in one piece. So obviously I've made a pretty small samurai helmet out of a standard sheet of origami paper, but you could make this out of something even bigger, maybe a sheet of newspaper, or if you have a larger sheet of paper at home, and you could make it big enough to wear, which I think would be really cool. So now that we have our samurai helmet folded, it's time for that all-important step of decorating. So you can grab your marker, crayon, or other decorating supplies and make your samurai helmet unique to you. Now, my origami paper, it doesn't do so well when I mix it with these markers, so I'm going to leave mine undecorated, but definitely, if you have an idea how to make your samurai helmet really cool, now would be the time to take that opportunity and decorate it up. I'll show you what my final project looks like at the end of the video, and I hope that your samurai helmet turns out just as awesome as mine. Alrighty, and after a little bit of practice and a lot of decorating, I took my final piece of Online Origami Club paper out of my kit, and I made this samurai helmet here. I think it turned out great, especially with some of the embellishments that I drew on. Now, don't forget that I would love to see all of your origami samurai helmets, so be sure to send pictures on over to us at kids@adamslib.org. And definitely, you're going to want to follow us on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, to not only get updates about the Online Origami Club, but also all the other great programs that we're doing here at the library. So, as always, happy crafting!